The Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate, who is more devoted to order than to justice.
That's Khalil Greene. He's a TikTok influencer known as the Gen Z historian who recently won a Peabody Award for his work. He posted this video in 2022 on Martin Luther King Jr. Day about people whitewashing Dr. King's legacy. He had to alter the text he used to avoid his post from being removed, even when quoting Dr. King directly.
I couldn't just say the Ku Klux Klan. I had to use AlgoSpeak. I had to write the Klan with a 1 for the L, because the fears that from this sense of trying to remove content that is racist or harmful, these algorithms and platforms like TikTok are actually removing the content that educates people about these harmful topics.
As social media platforms tighten their grip on content moderation, very often using artificial intelligence, creators have engineered a type of digital language in real time to avoid being detected and keep the conversation going. Welcome to the world of AlgoSpeak. Though AlgoSpeak is a relatively new term, the concept of secret languages to avoid censorship has deep historical roots. In the first centuries, Christians would use the fish symbol to identify each other to avoid persecution by the Romans. Around the 14th century, women living in a rural part of southern China used the Nushu language to communicate with each other in secret while living under the yoke of patriarchy. In the budding internet age of the 80s, there was LeetSpeak, used by coders and programmers to bypass word filters. Today's AlgoSpeak is rapidly evolving to keep up with the content moderation systems being used. Unalive instead of dead or killed, SA instead of sexual assault, SEGS instead of sex, and accountant instead of sex worker. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. On Instagram alone, there are 95 million posts shared every day. And with so much content to monitor, what's an algorithm to do but cast the widest net possible? New posts are automatically analyzed using artificial intelligence, which is trained with large data sets to detect posts that contain hate speech, harassment, nudity, violence, anything that violates the law and/or community guidelines. The posts flagged as problematic are either removed automatically or queued up for review by an actual person. The same applies if a post is reported by another user. According to TikTok's own self-reported numbers, the platform removed 136.5 million videos between July and September last year. 64% of those videos were removed by AI. Social media users who find their posts have been removed incorrectly can usually file an appeal to have their content reposted. For instance, 5% of the videos TikTok removed during that time period ended up being later restored. But even if your content ends up getting restored, there's no guarantee it won't end up getting muted from other people's feeds without your knowledge. This is called shadow banning. And it's a murkier form of censorship where a platform deems your content to be worth suppressing. Even if your published post appears to go live, it won't appear in many other people's news feeds, if at all. A lot of the posts that end up removed or shadow banned come from marginalized voices.
A lot of my content specifically is about Black history, which includes, of course, stories of oppression, of murder, of killing, of enslavement. But a lot of times you can't say these words directly because then the words might be suppressed. So instead of white supremacy, I'll use a 1 for the I, a 3 for the E, and so on and so forth, writing things in different ways while allow us to feel safer within the algorithm, because in instances where I haven't done that, the videos haven't been seen by as many people, or in some cases, they've been flagged as dangerous to view.
Were there posts that you have put up that just did get censored, that didn't show up after you pressed send?
I got one video that was about the existence of human zoos, where people of color were put in zoos throughout the United States and Europe, and it was flagged for minor safety, as if it were endangering minors for me to put this content, this educational content, on the algorithm. There's also a lot of videos that I've made that have had their sound removed. I think when TikTok puts out its official language on when it does this, it's usually for copyright reasons, but there's some videos where it's just been me talking about a Black history topic or a topic of like oppression or violence.
In 2021, TikTok issued an apology after one of its users noticed that his profile was being automatically censored on the platform's creator marketplace, where brands can connect with content creators who list their going rate for posts.
Well, if I go into the creator marketplace and I put supporting white supremacy and I hit accept, it's okay, and it lets me have my asking rate at $500. White supremacy. But God forbid, let me put Black Lives Matter on there. Watch, it says it's a threat. Boom, inappropriate content.
A company spokesperson said the error was the result of an AI algorithm set to block words associated with hate speech.
So one really interesting perspective came from Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, who during the hearing with the CEO of TikTok brought up how Black creators are at high risk of being censorship and how this all factors into the money that we're able to make from these platforms and how it's a case of economic discrimination because our censorship directly affects our livelihoods.
In another particularly bad example, the Human Rights Campaign had its TikTok account temporarily blocked from mentioning the word gay. Mind you, HRC is an LGBTQ advocacy organization. After a 2-day suspension, TikTok reversed its decision, calling it an error. It's possible that if HRC had used an @ symbol instead of the letter A, their post might have gone undetected. One of the big draws of social media is the ability to discuss major events in real time. But increasingly, users are having to bend their language to do so. According to a survey of 1,000 US-based internet users, 22% of respondents said they immediately see an uptick in the use of algospeak when a polarizing societal event occurs. During the peak of COVID, TikTok tried to stop the spread of disinformation by filtering for the word pandemic, which ended up shadow banning a lot of content. So people came up with new algospeak terms for the COVID-19 pandemic: panini, panoramic, Panda Express, and oddly enough, the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, a phrase coined by 2 YouTubers so they could mention the pandemic without getting demonetized by the platform. Amid this most recent war between Israel and Hamas, a new algospeak term emerged for the word Palestinian after social media users who publicly shared support for the Palestinians started seeing their posts removed or shadow banned by platforms. Meta chalked up the issue to a system-wide bug.
After 3 years of being a creator and talking to like these companies, I cannot give you the assurance that they know how their algorithms specifically work. They say, oh, like the algorithm's always changing, but like it's being improved, and without clear indications of like what's improving. And I think that's a part of the issue.
The language is fast evolving and can be difficult to pick up on, especially for someone who's neurodivergent or hard of hearing. Can you imagine what some of these words sound like with the text-to-speech function? It can also be used as a driver for the darker corners of social media. Pro-anorexia groups online use algospeak to promote disordered eating and avoid moderation. Anti-vaccine groups have bucked censorship by changing their names to dance party or dinner party groups. Most disturbingly, child predators have been using algospeak to bypass filters and find and distribute explicit images of minors. So long as AI algorithms are here to stay, they must be more carefully trained and refined, using wider and more representative data sets to reduce inaccuracies in machine learning. Participating in a discussion on social media shouldn't require you to outsmart the system to make your point, because people are gonna wanna talk about charged topics like racism and sexuality and mental health and current events, as is their right. Until next time, I'm Hari Sreenivasan, and this is Take on Faith. Thanks for watching.